Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we have Liliana Velasquez.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. I'm so happy to have you on. I was just not complaining. I really love the last guests that we've had on the podcast. Me. But I feel like there's been a notable lack of filth, and so I'm really glad that...
So I've been summoned.
You've been summoned. No, you were like, bitch, I want to be on again. I'm like, I want you on.
We want somebody shameless.
Exactly.
I'm like, I should be a reoccurring character on this podcast.
And I completely agree with you.
To be like once a month with Liliana.
It's like a cleanse.
It's like a cleanse, but the other way around.
Exactly.
It's like a cleanse, but the opposite.
But it's like the adults only cleanse, because not everyone can go deep, dark, and filthy like we can.
True. I mean, at some point, what else is there?
I think that's all there is.
I think that's what happens when you turn 44. You're just like, fuck it.
Like, where did those years go? I jumped from 34 to 40.
Oh, that shame is gone.
You said 44?
44, baby.
So we're 10 years. Oh, no, I turned 35 in a month.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. You're within my limit.
Oh, finger me.
Okay. We were talking a little bit about our dating stuff as we were making coffee before we started recording.
And consent.
Consent.
You know, one thing that blows my mind about consent is that people think that because you said yes last night, it's yes to every fucking time takes new consent.
Absolutely.
And like maybe yesterday I wanted you to bite my neck really hard and leave a few bruises on me, and then today I don't want your teeth anywhere near me, or your cock, or your face.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like but it's also for each, it doesn't have to be this may I, can I, but it's like you need to see when someone doesn't want something. You're in
Read
their
the
personal
room.
space.
There's only one person in it.
Exactly. There are boundaries for everything in every moment. And yeah, whether it's the next morning, but whether it's like, no, I don't want it up my ass now.
What headspace you have. Like Exactly. Like maybe I want to suck your dick instead of having it in my pussy or my ass. Like maybe I don't want it anywhere near me, and you can jerk off in a fucking corner for all I care.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's So you had a crazy. Do you want to talk about the crazy?
I just find it weird that people think that they can do things and then blame humor.
No, that's the worst.
Yeah, I was just making a joke, and you're like,
I thought you were a comedian.
Yeah, and it's like that. What? I'm not in high school. Like what you just did is a childish joke, and actually, if anything, it's a prank.
Yeah.
And somebody put hot sauce in my mouth after I had said I don't want any hot sauce.
Yeah, and you love hot sauce, and so
I do.
And the thing is, you can love hot sauce, but not want someone to put it in your fucking mouth.
I don't want somebody to kiss me with hot sauce in their mouth and then think it's funny. Especially after they tell me as a joke, and I'm like, no, that is not a good idea. Do not do that. Yeah. And then they do that, and then when I get upset, they're like, why are you overreacting? Overreacting. You just physically forced something down my throat that I did not want. Yeah. And that I clearly said no to.
Yeah.
So now your dick is nowhere in the picture anymore because... What do you want me to give you a blowjob with hot sauce?
You should have just pulled his... No, you shouldn't have done anything, but like you could have just pulled his dick out and been like, oh yeah, you wanted to put it there? I'm going to put it there.
Feel this.
Yeah.
No, my anger level just rose instantly.
Absolutely.
I was just like, he's like, why are you so angry? You're overreacting. And I'm like, am I?
Yeah.
Or did I clearly say no to something? And then you violated my body.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're exaggerating. I'm like, I'm not exaggerating. You forced a liquid down my throat that I did not want. That's a violation.
Absolutely. I've been violated, not that much in the last 6 months, but in the last 6 months, let's narrow it down. But I did have one more like white bread kind of violation. I was running a show, and this guy in the audience, this older guy, when I sat him down, they arrived late, and I was like trying to start the show. They arrived late, and this older, doesn't matter where he's from, Norway. I sit them down, and he's with his family, and as I'm like, okay, so we're gonna start the show. You can, register here, blah blah blah. He pats my ass.
Whoa!
And I was like, don't do that again. And then when I came back at the break, checking on how everyone was going, he touched my ass again. And I was like, do not touch me like that. And I was quite like, it was one of those, I'm the host, I'm the
Oh, this is the moment where you want to bounce her, though. It's like, no, I don't care that you're here with your whole family. No, you're not getting your money back. No, get the fuck out.
But I didn't have, like, it was too much, like, I was, one woman running,
of course.
there were like
and trying to keep
30
the peace
people.
And the rest of the people.
Exactly. And whenever there is a moment where you need to kick someone out, there's a huge energy shift. And I was like, Scandinavian donations, you know what I mean? Like,
No, but it's not worth it.
I
It's
know
just
it's
not
not.
worth it in the bigger picture.
And then when he was, when his family and him were leaving, I was
And
standing
why
at
not
the
even
door.
ask his wife and be like, "Yo, you okay with him non-consensually grabbing other people's asses?" I mean, at a certain point, you have to use your platform.
I
Make
did
a joke out of it on stage.
Yeah,
and be
I
like,
did, I
"You
did
see
actually.
This person.
Yeah, I did actually.
He thinks it's
refer
okay to
it.
grab my ass."
Yeah. I referred to it on stage, but I also don't think their English was that
Doesn't
good
matter.
to know what
They
was
know
happening.
shame.
And then as he was leaving, he did it again. He went, I was like, all right, so, you know, you're not touching me, but it was nice to see you. And he went in for a hug and I was like, and then he did it again. And I was like,
Why
okay,
didn't-
you need to not, like, you need to
That
not.
is disgusting.
It was.
It's also when you need to like throw an elbow and be like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were so close."
Yeah.
You know, like there's things that you have to do to also like I would jab him. I would have probably not like punched him in the sense that I'm like throwing a punch.
Yeah.
But I definitely would have made a physical reaction that would have hurt and then I would have acted stupid.
Yeah.
Like, didn't realize you were so close.
I felt so
Anything,
ill-equipped. Like I felt, and the thing is, it really knocked my sense. Like, and the fucked up thing is that afterwards, I now like, and then there's this sense of shame that I didn't react in a way to protect myself. You know what I mean? Like I didn't react, and so then there's this double thing of like I was violated.
It's also like not even enough money. Like you're getting a 10-euro donation and the guy groped your ass 3 times in front of his wife and kids.
Yeah.
Like he's teaching his kids that. His wife is obviously desensitized.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just the norm.
And probably on Valium just to deal with him.
I hope she is.
You know how many people are on Valium that we're not aware of?
I think a lot of people are on Valium. In Berlin.
Yeah.
Although it is hard
It's
to get
Valium
prescription
or
drugs.
the other one. What's the one for ADHD?
Ritalin.
Yeah, so they're either on Valium or Ritalin, but it's pretty obvious they're on that shit.
Right? I don't know. Like, it's crazy how strong Valium is. Like the only times I've ever taken Valium, it has knocked me. Like I've had to throw up.
I'm not good with Valium.
I can't do Valium.
No, it stays in my system too long, and then I just like sit places and stare into the nothingness with that one solitary teardrop.
I just won't do it. Like prescription drugs for me, I had a period where I was taking Tramadol, which is like 2 tiers below morphine, because my brother got a bunch of these prescription drugs.
I had no reason. I didn't have an accident. Didn't fall off my bike.
No, my brother did. My brother had acute lower back pain, and so this doctor prescribed him like so much
This is in Australia.
This is Australia.
Yeah,
It's
course.
classic Australia. Yeah. So many drugs, and so then we just partied with these drugs. Like we would get drunk and then take these drugs, but it was like it knocked me around, and I would pretty much always throw up.
Constipation and throw up and things.
I would throw
Also,
up
your system
every
is-
time. Every time, and it got to the point where I was
That's
like,
very
"This
much
is
like morphine
dangerous."
does.
Yeah. Bleh, exactly.
Feel better now.
But yeah, that was my period of doing prescription drugs, and I actually think prescription drugs are more dangerous.
I find anything with pharmacy. I do agree. I'm not very big on when I did go to therapy, the doctor once tried to recommend some pills, and I was like, no, I need a new doctor.
Yeah, no. No, I don't. Look, there are some people who need prescription drug. Like psychiatry exists for some things, maybe as a first step to be able to to be able to just get a break from the emotions and like rationalize some. Like if you want to just deaden yourself, so you can look at what you want to do, and then that allows you to start processing stuff. By deaden, that was maybe a bit too strong. I understand that that's sometimes a necessary like step towards processing.
There's definitely okay. So there are different levels of trauma and pain and psychological wiring in your brain and things that function, but not every. It's just so weird how the high percentage of what people consider that the norm to be. You know, so before they try to get into better physical shape or go to the gym or take a yoga class, or they're just like, give me the pills.
Totally.
And it's not give me the pills. The doctors are like, here, take this.
Yeah.
You know,
I think Germany's good for that.
Yeah, Germany's much
Germany's
better.
really like, how about some paracetamol?
But
I don't know what that accent
was.
was.
That I find awkward with like gender reassignment. How early on people are getting on all this medication.
I agree
and
with
I
this.
feel that it's like the plastic surgery industry is selling it more, and they're not really caring about the long-term, you know, like truth about a person's shell. My body is a shell.
Yeah.
And my gender association definitely is feminine for myself, but I've had many moments in my life where I've been hypermasculine.
Yep.
And I've had moments in my life where I haven't liked my tits, or I haven't liked, you know, that's about it.
And no, and I completely relate to this. I feel very, very masculine at times. I feel very manly, and I in terms of the spectrum of sexuality, and then how I identify with my body. I've had moments where I don't like my tits as well, but like you, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
And then obviously
And
there's
it's
some
mostly because
aesthetic
society
stuff.
has said things, not because I don't like them.
Totally.
It's because there's like, like all the, pressure to have this cleavage that's like up your nose.
Yeah.
And
And just like beauty standards across the media of
Yeah.
women. And it's like, okay, so maybe my body is meh. But I agree. I think it's I
we
think
go
people are scared about talking about this. I'm certainly scared about talking about it, but definitely the speed with which someone can get a like a sexual reassignment, and then just
all the
the hormones. Dude, hormones
Scary
are
as fuck.
so like I was talking.
We don't even know our natural hormones and where they're going, and then you're adding additional hormones to that.
Like, this is why
You
contraception, it's insane how much hormonal contraception is pushed, but then also hormonal treatment for
Get a vasectomy.
sexual reassignment.
Get a vasectomy.
Get a vasectomy. Yeah, if you don't want, yeah, okay, that's it. We're dancing all over here. I love vasectomies. I want to talk about them more.
I need a T-shirt that says "I love vasectomies."
Dude, let's make them.
Let's do it.
Oh my god, yes.
Don't
I need to
tell
make
me.
some
I love
new
vasectomies.
merch. Anyway, I created for Startup Stand Up, the show that Dragos runs, where you pitch a startup idea. I had an idea for how to promote vasectomies.
I love
And men, oh my god. But speaking of, it's a really scary, like talking about any like trans issues
it's a
is
sensitive
extremely
issue.
sensitive. But I do, like, I read somewhere, I heard some statistic regarding like
The number of
levels
people that are
levels of depression and suicide rates pre transition and then post, and then looking further along, often even post transition, there's like maybe the first couple of years are good, but then those core issues are still
you change.
there.
Yeah, you're not addressing that your shell is your shell. So, like, for me, a big part of gender conversations have to do with colonization. Mm-hmm. So if we look back at when there was already 5 genders before in indigenous tribes, there was no plastic surgery, and the people dressed according to how they felt.
Yep.
And the wardrobe became their like armor to society, which let you know, or the makeup, like the hair, the makeup, and the wardrobe. And it was accepted because there were more variables. Mm-hmm. And then, colonization came through and the religion stuff. And then they just started male, female, bum, bum, bum.
Religion is really
religion,
where...
colonization, both
and
of them.
patriarch,
because a lot of the colonization also killed off the more intelligent leaders in tribes so that people would follow suit.
Absolutely.
Which stops the stories and the respect and, and then fear. So, but back then, if we're trying to go back to that, when we keep saying, 5 genders and all this, then we have to start going back also to more natural remedies of life and more communication and hugs and like a therapy of self-acceptance, of self-acceptance, and knowing that you might feel like a woman in a man's body and that's good, and you are a woman then and accept it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you have to cut off the pieces that are with you.
Yeah.
Maybe there's other ways. And maybe if then after much of these other conversations, and now you're in your late 20s or early 30s and you're like, I still want to cut that shit off. Go for it, bitch.
Yeah.
Cut it off.
For sure.
But to start cutting off parts of your body at 18, 19 is really young. I don't even know who I was back then compared to who I am now. And I'm so glad I never got fake tits.
Yeah, right. Right. Okay, let's talk about jumping into a slightly less scary topic to talk about on a recording.
I'm back.
But in terms of like, because I am starting to feel like, okay, in Berlin, I always seem to, seldom have I been with a man that is older than me. And I tend...
Wow. You're not missing out on anything. Other than money.
But I tend to, like, I always tend to, and I'm not looking for it, but I seem to end up with younger men. Not extremely younger, like the
we're very
youngest.
youthful women.
We are youthful. We are also...
And we work in comedy, so we meet, like, fucking young people.
We meet young people who are out at night, and so it is a very different kind of community that we're exposed to. But I've been around a few much younger men, and like there are 24-year-olds, 27-year-olds.
Like, I love cross-dressers.
Okay.
I love them. I've fallen in love in my life with 3 cross-dressers.
I love cross-dressers too, but often they're too crazy for me in the end. They're too unstable emotionally.
But this is part of that whole thing where the gender comes into play behind closed doors and in society.
I mean, more like drug use and lifestyle and their ability to like hold me as well as hold themselves because they.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. When there's drug use, that's a different story because I find that that's how you get ghosted.
Yes. Okay, hold on. I want to quickly go into plastic surgery because I'm starting to feel quite aware of my aging because people are like, "Oh my God, you look so young. You look so young." Like I've had several guys recently when they found out my age, they go, "Well done," or like what, like you look so young. Like how are you 34? But then the next morning
I'll be 22.
But then I'll be looking at myself in the morning after like I'm looking at their wrinkle-free faces before I get out of bed, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I can see wrinkles, man. I can see that I'm 34, and so I'm like,
yeah, but we can see our own aging because we still like in my imagination when I close my eyes, I still look a certain way. That's just where my brain goes.
Yeah. What's the age that you look?
I'm like 24.
Yeah, I'm like 27. That's
somewhere in between there, but I'm definitely below 30.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but now, and I feel that way, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, so 44. Oh, hello, 44.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, almost 35. So like, there was a woman at one of my shows who, she was like, I don't know, 36 or something. And I just made the comment, did I deeply mean it? I don't know. But she said like 38. And I was like, oh, you look young. And she was like, Botox. She was like, highly recommend it.
Scary as fuck.
The younger
just
you
put poison in my body. I've seen women with Botox and they were young, like young. And I remember looking at my friend and being like, what's wrong with this woman's face? And she was like, oh, and that's another social class symbol because how expensive is it, right?
I was looking into it. So this is how, because I was like, apparently, because there's Botox, but then there's also like a...
Did my milk go bad?
No.
It's on the bottom of my...
Oh, that's bits of chunky. Like, at half a milk. It's not bad.
That's bits of chunky.
That's bits of chunky. That's how to console someone's concerns about fat milk.
Did my milk go bad? Oh, no, not at all. That's just bits of chunky. I want my gynecologist to say that, too. Oh, no, that's fine. That's just bits of chunky. Like, what the fuck?
No. Have you not had at the bottom of an oat milk carton that there's, like, clumps? It's less chunks.
Yeah, it happens.
But it's not bad. I drank this milk this morning. It's not bad. I opened it like 3 days ago. It's not bad. I chew on that stuff and it tastes good. I promise you.
You are so Australian. That is really just a white bitch thing.
Fuck you, yeah. I love how you had to make it about being white, Of course it's Well, I'm sorry. I'll take the chia off.
So you might as well say you're vegan. I mean, that's just bits of chunky.
No, but it's good chunky. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'll say that the next time I have phlegm in my throat.
I should have shaken it more, but it's just the sediment at the bottom because I finished the milk off. Anyway, I'm going to stop defending my oat milk. There's nothing wrong with it. I promise you. Chew it. Just as you were swallowing. I will drink. It
was delicious. I loved it. I finished it.
Okay, cool.
I think I left the chunky though.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's more of an Australian thing. So I looked into it. There's Botox, but there's also like this hydro alert. There's a thing that your body naturally produces, and it's like a natural human thing, and your body receives it better. And so I was like,
and you lose it with age.
Yeah, but you have to get it's like they only last like these injections only last like 9 months, and then you have to do it again.
But they look like aliens, like they just like frozen face. I like the electric shock treatment stuff.
Okay.
Like the light stuff.
What does that do?
I don't know, brings blood circulation to your... I don't know what it does. My friend does all this shit.
Okay. You can't just slap your face.
Just,
as you knock the microphone filter. So I actually looked into it because I was like, all right, I could get, like, if I'm wanting to spend money, like, I think tattoos are very aesthetic, for example. Like,
yeah, I love spending money on tattoos.
But if I was thinking, like, okay, I'd spend money on a tattoo, why wouldn't I spend it on making my face look
like everybody else's
younger?
See, but the tattoos are
a few of like the lip line, like the lip. I'm getting like these like tiny little lines above my lips
from smoking.
It's not from smoking. It's also from fucking straws. Or I noticed that like I hold my mouth.
Blowjobs.
Yes, but I would say it's more like on the
Well, what about-
cosmetic surgeons
why
thing.
not-
It says smokers lines. I'm like, fuck you. It's
Why
not because
don't
I
you
smoke.
do face yoga? You're one of
Okay.
those ladies that's like,
I do, and I've realized that I actually do tense my upper lip in different situations. So I've become aware of that. I'm trying to relax my upper lip more, and I've also put a lot of effort into like relaxing my brow area because I've got like a strong anger, like
but like
vertical.
face yoga is not about relaxing your brow, but activating other muscles.
Okay,
that
so they
lift.
support.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks
what
like
I
you're
mean-
just creating more wrinkles. I don't know, but then I also just want to be like my mum hasn't had any surgery done at all, and she looks good.
I like the natural aging too. I mean,
yeah, it's just there's a part of me that like we're doing this thing where we're like I think it's
our
important.
face is our selling point.
Our face is our selling
Yeah.
point, and that's a bit. And I'm starting to.
I'm gonna start using my
feel-
ass.
I would love to start using my ass, but that's that's also going to be dropping soon. Like I work on my ass. I guess I just. Yeah, I guess I want to find natural ways to, and I moisturize, and people say I look young, but I just feel like I'm gonna get to like 39, and it's gonna be like, whew,
Yeah, and you're white.
and I'm white. My mom has aged really well,
Well,
so
then you're gonna age well, and
Yeah.
you eat well, and you have a super healthy lifestyle, and you ride your bike everywhere.
I
and-
do. I have been smoking a little bit, and I do take some drugs at the moment,
Yeah, but I mean,
but that's all like it's
full
seasonal.
on healthy
It's
is also
seasonal.
kind of like full on like, oh god, those people bore me.
Yeah, and I don't like setting up like these sort of oppositions in me. Like I'm withholding this fun from myself.
I think
so
at a certain
everything
point,
in balance.
like after you're in your 30s. I mean, if you don't have a balance of consumption, then you have a problem.
Yeah, totally.
Like if you didn't learn how to not be an addict by now,
Yeah.
then you're an addict.
Tobacco, however, is one of those things that I do need to just stigmatize in my brain so solidly that I don't do it.
I don't see you
but
smoking that much though. Like
I don't
mean,
smoke that much.
Yeah, I smoke tobacco when I'm drunk, and I prefer not to. But Berlin does have bars that are smoky, and there's a moment where it's like better to have a cigarette in your hand than just like breathe all that tobacco.
Exactly. It's like, let me get it firsthand. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. It's the healthy alternative to passive smoking. But my issue is I only smoke cigarettes during the day if I end up getting tobacco. I smoke when I'm out, but I get to this point where like I need to be black and white with tobacco.
Yeah,
because
like
otherwise
that's why
it
I
just
also
creeps
have
in all
like
the
a
time.
little pipe on me all the time, and people think it's like a crack pipe, and it's not. It's a weed pipe.
Yeah.
But I don't want to smoke the tobacco that everybody rolls joints here with tobacco, and to me, ugh, yuck, I hate it.
I think
I have
tobacco's
to be
horrible.
really drunk already to want that because it changes my heart rate and my brain.
It's so unhealthy. I just need to read the book again. Anyway, that's
What
enough
book?
on me smoking. The book, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. I've read it maybe now I'd say like eight times.
Seems like it works.
It does. It does. The issue is, and I want to just blame Berlin, and I want to blame my lifestyle.
Let's blame Berlin.
But you know what I really blame? I blame it on when I end up hooking up with someone that smokes.
That too.
It's that.
That
And
too.
so when I hook up with someone that smokes, then I'm immediately like, no, I won't smoke. And then, days later, I'll be like, I want a cigarette. And then when I'm with them, I'll end up smoking. And then it just like, and then like, if it's not working out with them, then I want to smoke because it reminds me of them.
Yeah,
Like, it's all
I
these
have
fucked up
I have a
things.
lover that drops off, like he hides cigarettes around my house, and there are nights when I'm home alone and I've had a few wines or something, and I'm like, where are those hidden cigarettes? And I go through the whole apartment like, fuck, I smoked them all already, and I don't even like cigarettes. But
that's
it's that like joy of that little hidden cigarette. It
that
reminds me of
thing.
my mom too, because she used to hide the cigarettes from my dad so he wouldn't smoke so much, and so she would come down with like 1 or 2 cigarettes, like, here, honey, I saved these for you.
Oh,
and they were
wow.
stale as
Ugh,
fuck, but it
yeah.
was just like the gesture. and,
Non-smokers don't get how stale.
oh God.
But that's the one thing. That's the one thing that I get. And the main reason why I always stop smoking tobacco is vanity, because of my teeth and my skin. I'm like, I want my teeth
It's
and my
true.
skin to be good,
It's
and I know
true.
that when I smoke,
They're not.
exactly. And it's also there is an energetic
And the
thing.
skin is like really obvious. Like,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's.
And I don't feel that weed does that.
I will not smoke weed ever again.
What happened?
Happened? I that's something that I also find really hard to. I will admit, weed is the one drug that I will smoke at every point if I'm smoking. I don't have any, like, because when I'm smoking weed makes everything better. I enjoy how my brain works. I enjoy how I interact with people. I enjoy just existence. And that's why it's so dangerous for me, because for me, everything is improved by weed. So it becomes a total dependency.
See, okay, well, wow. Yeah, I tend to smoke small amounts of weed all day.
It sounds like you're the same.
And, but when I don't have it, I don't miss it. When I don't have weed, like if I go travel to a country where there's, not that there's no weed, but the danger is to smoke, I don't miss it at all. When I go visit my family at home, because they don't smoke, I don't miss it at all. I mean, I'm just like, whatever, give me more coffee. I hate you. I'm fine. I don't miss anything. I hate you.
Yeah, I don't, like, when I would visit my family in London when I was smoking weed all the time, I wouldn't miss it. But then I'd come back to Berlin and be like, that first joint, and it'd be like, and so there was this whole, and I didn't like how, like, for example, even performing comedy, it would be like, I would not smoke before my performance. Sometimes I would, but like,
I did notice a difference with myself when I smoked before, and I shouldn't.
And it's
I
so
try
much
not
better if you
to.
don't.
I made a mistake recently where I smoked like before going on stage, and I was just so slow in my connections.
Totally. And then there's also the self-doubt, or like the not quite, like you start getting introspective. Exactly. This introspection, but the problem is there's this setup of when you are smoking weed all the time and then you don't smoke before a performance, then you almost resent the performance because you couldn't smoke. Like you're kind of waiting, and then you're like, now I can smoke. And it's like, I don't want to be desperate to get off stage so I can, and it wasn't not that I was desperate, but it's like, it created this whole, wanting it more because I couldn't.
I guess I kind of would say I smoke, like, and I have my breakfast and I have a little bit of a smoke, and then I don't really smoke again until evening, especially if I'm taking care of kids or stuff.
Totally. Well, even when I worked at the kindergarten, I would.
There's no reason
in the morning, but then it took me an hour to get there.
Right,
so
exactly.
I was
so by the time I
by
get there, I'm fine.
Exactly.
And then I really don't smoke until after my set. And when I do, it's because I ran into people, something happened, I got into like this almost vacation mode mentality, and then I fuck up my set.
It happens. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing a sober November. Well, sober 2 weeks. My birthday's on the 17th, so I think I'm gonna
after that.
Well, I'll be sober until that.
Oh.
I'm thinking I'm gonna do like have October and then do a 2-week complete and really make sure I've stopped cigarettes completely by then, and then maintain that, and then have a fun old blowout for my birthday.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I think it's a solid plan. So should we talk about ghosting and dating?
Oh my God, why not? It's the thing that people do.
Oh, I know, right?
It's the new in.
So you mentioned
I have abandonment issues, and I am so triggered by ghosters. Triggered to the point where I become an asshole and I don't respect your boundaries.
Yeah, that's
a problem.
That's a problem. that's proper triggering.
I want to have a fight with you where we obviously say we're never gonna see each other again, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then what happened? What? Hello.
I'm in this, I wanted to save this for this chat. I'm in this new place right now that I've never been in before, where...
Are you talking about your apartment?
We are in my new apartment, and the trees are magnificent.
It's amazing. I feel like I'm in a fish tank.
It's so I feel like I'm in a holiday house all the time. It's really nice.
I love it.
But aside from my new apartment, psychologically, I feel like I got so damaged at the start of this year with this guy that I I totally fell for, and then he broke it off real quick, and then other dates where I just just want to be friends, and I was like, what is wrong with me? And then with my housemates basically not trusting me all of a sudden, and me feeling like they they did not accept who I am and didn't like it.
And at the Vegay?
At the Vegay.
Oh.
And then
that was weird because you were there for a while.
Dude, that was so fucked up. It was that's a massive trauma. I'm still
I'm sorry.
riding. Thank you. I was riding past the house, near the house the other day. Every time I think about my ex-housemate, I accidentally break something.
Oh, that's symbolic.
It's really symbolic. And then as I was riding past near the apartment the other day, I was riding on my bike and I was like, Anna, you're good. and I've started doing something. I've started doing something that's really powerful that I've needed to do this year. It's kind of a mantra. It's really basic. I just say out loud to myself, I love you, Anna.
It's a mantra.
It's a mantra. And it still makes me teary. Like when I hear it and it's so sad, but it's like I haven't been in a love dynamic for, oh my God, I'm getting emotional. But like having your parents say it is very different to to that. And so as I was riding past the house, I was like, okay, like you're on a bike, there's traffic, like be present. And I said like, and I love you, Anna, and I was fine, but it's like I still feel quite damaged from this
of course, because you had
situation.
a community and you had a family dynamic.
Yeah.
And we give a lot of ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
And relationships aren't just about the ones that you fuck. Like relationships are.
This was my chosen community. This ex-housemate, she was my family. I felt like there was so much love there, and I felt like there was such a bond.
Because you were there for the pandemic too. So.
Yeah. Well, we got this new housemate in, and it wasn't working with her, and she had a lot of problems with how much noise I made during the days, with my podcast. The days. Yeah. Before 10 p.m., she thought my level of noise was oppressive. She called me an oppressor.
Wow, where is she from?
Italy.
Interesting.
Queer, artist, very engaged in political activism, and all of those things are my, like, I am with all of those things, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But she saw me as not part of those things because I do comedy.
And because you like dick.
I like dick, although she identifies as bisexual.
Yeah,
but she said that she is triggered by male voices when I was doing my podcast.
She's triggered by, well, how does she live life?
Exactly.
Like, there's male voices everywhere.
And
that's a bit of a, like, you are a snowflake and you need some therapy.
And it's like, why are you living in a
on
shared house?
How does she like go to the supermarket?
Totally. There was a lot of like power maneuvering in that dynamic. And then
I feel like these are people who haven't really dealt with real trauma. And I'm not trying to dismiss whatever because I don't know who she is, but it's like there's certain things where you realize where privileged people have opinions versus
just using the word triggered. And the thing is, she does like this new housemate does like co-counseling, and she does, and like I would hear her like screaming and crying in her room at like 9 a.m. doing her therapy sessions. And I would just see her afterwards, and I would see her. I'd be like, "You okay?" Like everything, and it was horrible. Like if I had someone over, it would be like, "What is and she would do all of these other noises.
She was doing like what is it? 5 drums dance movement. This like where you like release all our.
Yeah, it was like primal screaming and stuff. and I was like, okay, she's doing her thing, but she found my doing online comedy before 10 p.m., me recording podcasts for a couple of hours. She found that the issue, and for her to
people have a problem. Like I have to say. People have a problem with comedians.
Yeah. She had a real problem with me.
Yeah. And we're strong women comedians that are also very she-her dynamic, holding their own amongst a very macho industry.
Yeah.
And I don't think they see that. I don't think a lot of people,
they're just like, oh, you're just making dick jokes, and oh, you make fun of this and you make fun of this. And it's like, do you want me to break down the complexity of my joke structure here and see the messages I'm actually saying?
The full hour and understand that you can't just dissect one sentence from my bit and
exactly. And sorry, I used the word. So I've got this joke where I talk about my housemates during the pandemic. One got pregnant, and then the other one started going through menopause. And then
and they're women. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but she the feedback from my old housemate was, "Oh, Anna, when you explain what menopause is, like, firstly, I think it's too private that you're saying this." And I'm like, I don't say your name.
Nobody knows who you are.
I've lived with many lesbians.
Nobody knows who you are. And
no
actually,
one knows.
And we need to talk about menopause more. We need to talk about abortions more.
Exactly.
We need to talk about sex workers' rights more. We need to talk about human rights.
It's like,
why is menopause embarrassing?
In criticizing me saying this stuff on stage, even though there's no direct connection to you, you're actually like opposing an education that I'm trying to give to people about what the fuck menopause is.
Yeah.
And there are people in audiences who do not know. And then on top of it, I use in the description of what menopause is, I use the term woman and man. And she's like, and also I think, this old housemate, my family housemate, she was like, and you don't use inclusive language.
I try my best. How about that?
Yeah. But it's also like...
But I'm making a conversation about what happens biologically inside of a woman's body.
Exactly.
Which men don't go through menopause. Men go through hair loss.
Exactly. But it's also just like... So I believe that the breakdown of my my share house situation came with this joke. And it started with this joke and then having an issue with that. And then me being loud.
And then they just stick to that too. It's like, do you not see all of me? Do you really not see all of me?
And really they didn't. Like, the thing is, my old housemate, I really felt like she saw me. This new housemate had this very clear-cut idea of what she thought of me.
A little gang.
And then I was working 40 hours a week, but like needing to commute as well. So I was away for 50 hours a week, and they both were doing home office. And so this new housemate just got in there and just started planting these seeds of like, you can't trust Anna. Anna isn't, politically active. Or we're going to demonstrations and Anna just stays and like, writes jokes. She's not supporting the female cause. It's like, you don't know what the fuck I'm doing to try and promote an understanding of women's rights and sexual freedom, and fuck you.
Yeah. I think that people also don't really understand that comedians also need a safe space to develop their jokes to work on some really difficult subjects. Yeah. And sometimes, to have a conversation about why my joke might lead you in the wrong emotions or trigger something has to be a conversation where you're not judging me, but a conversation where you're letting me understand you and hopefully enlightening me into another path or another way of saying something.
Totally.
But you can't just come up to me and be like, I hate your joke and you're not an activist. And it's like, wait a second. I've been defending bisexuality since I was 14 years old in Miami, Florida in 1980 something.
Exactly.
Like, I do understand.
Totally. And it's like, why are you... Yeah. So just these people who have this idea of...
And I'm not perfect. And I'm also trying my best to just stand up for what I can and learn as I go.
So, exactly. So I'm still quite, I've still got a bit of trauma. I'm still hurt from this whole situation, and so I had these men rejections from sexual companions. Then I had this share house situation, and I'd also just come out of a work environment that was extremely toxic to me, with like absolute bullying.
You just went through like one of those like cyclical life changes.
I really did, and it was like the start of this year was so hard, and so but now I've come through, and it's quite strange. I'm meeting all these lovely people, and lovely people are contacting us, and I am having all of these like sexually exciting, romantic. I'm having some romance.
Who's giving you romance? That doesn't exist in Berlin.
It does.
But very rarely.
It's okay. Maybe I went too far with the romance. I think that, like, I'm also, I'm having situations where I can feel a bit romantic, or, you know what, maybe romantic. Yeah, like a little bit, just like that kind of intimate, cute. Let's stick with romantic.
Let's go with romantic. Why not? I encourage people to be more romantic.
But I'm having all of these things, and it's the weirdest thing. It's like, for the first time in my life, I'm not in my head about any of these people. Like, when I see them, there's a few people in my environment, and I'm not like, who should I, and does he feel the same as me, and is he going to text me? Like, I'm not, it's just not in my, it's not occupying any, and it's not that I've become heartless. It's just, it's weird. I just feel super light about everything and accepting, and I'm just going with it.
It's the law of detachment. Good for you. I mean, that's the best way to go about it. I've noticed that when I'm detached, I get treated better. And when I care, they ghost me.
Well,
then they tell me I'm too much. And I'm like, I am not too much. I am just the right amount of me.
Absolutely. And don't let anyone tell you you're too much.
And you know what? You're too little.
Yeah, or it's just like, you don't deserve this much.
Yeah, if you think I'm too much, how about you just shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
And ghost.
or just say, hey, I
can't
can't do this.
I can't do
I can't do this. You
Which
know?
most German men will say to you if you're a Latina.
Although I've said that to a few people recently.
I mean, I can tell there are people that are too much for me,
Yeah.
but I don't tell them that they're too much.
No, I say I can't do this.
Yes, I focus the responsibility on myself. I cannot handle this. I don't have the space for you right now. I don't have the capacity to deal with this. I am overwhelmed.
Yes.
It's all about me.
You've got to turn it. It's
because
about you.
I can't change that person, and they are beautiful, even if they're overwhelming.
Yep.
You know, and it's hurtful when people who lead you on and, you know, like enjoy all of your sexual pleasures and all your energy and all that healing power that we have, and that, I'll make you laugh when you're down and all that crap. And, you know, I'll sit on your face when you're sad, all that stuff. But then you turn around and you tell me that I'm too much. Bitch, you were just worshiping my asshole.
Yeah. Which is what everyone should be doing. I don't know. So basically, like, I think that it's really important. Like, I don't agree with ghosting. Like, sometimes it happens unintentionally that you just like, whoop, but it's not like a full, like, I'll always go back to someone and be like, hey, I've been really busy. I'm like, I don't have the capacity for you now.
If you ghost me, I'm probably going to like break your window. I'm not saying that this is bad behavior, but I cannot deal with it. I cannot psychologically deal with it. I can deal with a breakup much better. I can deal with that like full explosion of emotions and like, why? Much better. And then like just release and like, but at ghosting, I'm like, how do you share 2 years of a life with somebody and intimacy and stories and family and then just never speak to them again? I mean, there's 2 people in my life that I never spoke to again by choice. And one I had a miscarriage with, and I spiraled into massive depression, and you know, like it was just really bad. And I can understand why that. And the other one was a very abusive older man that I dated who was psychologically abusive, and I can also understand why. Yeah. That the full on ghost goodbye. Yeah. And then there's friendships. Like I have female friends that ghost me, and I'm so confused by it because I'm like, wait a second. You've professed love to me as a friend, as a lover, as this, and then I didn't reciprocate exactly how you wanted, or I expressed a boundary and they weren't able to accept that boundary. And it wasn't a boundary like I said, boundaries shift. Today, my personal world is small, and tomorrow it might be big. And today I don't want to be touched, and the other day I went down on you, whatever. So, and it's just weird to me where it's like, so now you don't speak to me at all, ever?
Yeah, I definitely, I don't like the term burn bridges because there's something vindictive in that. But I definitely like shut doors.
I'll burn bridges, but I'll make it.
You burn bridges.
But I'll make it obvious that I'm burning the bridge. Like, I'm also a forgiving person, and I learn from my mistakes. So, like, I've burned many bridges. And I think I needed to do that for myself. Yeah. But that's not ghosting. That's like a clear, like, fuck you. You know, you don't talk to me this way. Fuck you. Yeah. And it's usually has to do a lot with like men who try to manipulate my image or what I'm doing or take advantage of me as a performer and use it. And then they try to turn it around on me like, oh, but blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, fuck you. I'm out. Yeah.
I think I'm just like reflecting on my own, burning bridges or closing doors or whatever. Like there are friendships where I'm just like, I wouldn't call it ghosting though. I'd just say like something happened. Yeah, maybe I do. I just like, if they try and reach out to me, I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Like, let's catch up another time. And then that.
I find that funny because I find it like, it's like, I recently approached somebody and I was like, hey, you know, like we were really close and then all of a sudden you've really changed on me. Now I was like, when I was last time drunk, did I say something that I'm not aware of? Because one, I can see that our relationship has shifted and that's okay. I can accept that. Yeah. But what I don't accept is that I don't know how or why, and I can't learn from that, or I can't own up to it and be like, yeah, bitch, I said that and I meant it. Yeah. Either one. I would like to be able to constantly grow from my mistakes, or really own them. Just be like,
Yeah.
You're right. You shouldn't talk to me anymore.
Yeah, totally. There's only one. I'm trying to. I think most things just like naturally fizzle, or it's like you set a boundary and then they don't want to.
But it's funny too, like when you ask these people what you did wrong or like what triggered their change. Most of the time, they don't want to have a talk about it at all.
Yeah.
And they can't even remember what it was because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
And then they change their attitude and they're like thinking back and they're like, oh, no, we're fine now. And you're like, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Friendship breakdowns and relationship breakdowns. But I don't know.